1 second. Zoom.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So my name is Mohammed Nasrullah. I am one of the co-founders and the president of COVID-19 Wall of Memories. I want to welcome you and thank you so much for joining us on this occasion when we remember those we have lost to COVID and those left behind, and think about what it means to memorialize the victims of something as huge as the worldwide pandemic. It's not something that I ever thought that I would live through, and most likely you can also probably say the same. But when Ruth and I saw the enormity of the loss, we felt compelled to act. With the help of family and friends, we pulled together our ideas for a virtual memorial and set about creating a nonprofit organization to manage our efforts to pursue our dual mission to remember those that we have lost to COVID-19 and to share information and news about the disease and its impacts. Here we are today, having honored 15,000 people on our virtual memorial. As far as we know, that's more than any other memorialization effort for COVID effort in our country. Yet that's only about 1.35% of the total lost in our country, which is a little over 1.1 million people. And people are still dying of COVID. Sadly, we chose the theme we will always remember for tonight's event because we worry the country is losing sight of that fact. Fortunately, thanks to vaccinations and precautions, the rates of cases and deaths have slowed down from where we were a year back, but many people seem to have become complacent, and that potentially increases the risk of COVID getting worse again. Let's not forget the million people who have died in the US so far. Let's not forget that we are still faced with a deadly epidemic. Be assured that no matter how things change, we will always remember. We will never stop. COVID-19 Wall of Memories is committed to telling the story of COVID-19 in America. At this time, I would like to, have a moment of silence before we proceed with the program. Okay. All right. So the rest of the program will be emceed by Ruth Nasrullah. She is the one of the co-founders of COVID-19 Wall of Memories, and she's also the secretary treasurer of the nonprofit organization. So Ruth, take it away.
Yes, I'd like to start by asking everyone to mute yourself, please. And all right, with that, all right, sounds like we're good to go. So yes, I'm Ruth Nasrullah. I'm one of the co-founders and I'm the secretary treasurer of COVID-19 Wall of Memories. We have those illustrious titles because COVID-19 Wall of Memories is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. That's the organization that runs the virtual memorial. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome so many of our friends and families, supporters, volunteers, newcomers to the COVID-19 Wall of Memories family. Thank you for joining us on this occasion. Just as it's surprising to say, wow, it's been 3 years since the pandemic started, it's hard to believe today we're saying, wow, it's been 2 years since COVID-19 Wall of Memories launched. Our virtual memorial has been a labor of love, by which I mean it's involved both labor and love. My husband and I have tested our limits at times in terms of how creative we can be, how well we can solve problems and strategize, and how well we work together. I guess whatever we do is working, as evidenced by the fact that we're here today celebrating 2 years. And of course, we're not doing it alone. And tonight you will meet some of the people who make it happen. But today we don't matter as much as the people we work to honor and their families. We're glad to have some of you here. We do our work for you. You humble us, impress us, and we're grateful to know you. And you are the reason we do what we do. You may have noticed when Mohammed spoke that he used some words and phrases that sound unusual. We don't, for instance, say that we posted stories on the Wall of Memories. We say that we honored people. We use that kind of language because it reflects how we feel. We are here to honor those we've lost and to honor you. So we thank you all for your presence and hope you will be inspired and uplifted by this program. Tonight, we will hear from elected officials, family members, community leaders, volunteers, and supporters. This is not a celebration of the people. It is a celebration of the people. It's not a celebration of our success. It's a celebration of the people who make it possible to honor 15,000 and counting of our fellow US residents whom we've lost to COVID-19. And I'd like to introduce our first guest for this evening. She has been a supporter and a friend ever since the beginning, I think, really. And she is here tonight with a message from our mayor. I'd like to introduce Houston City Council member Letitia Plummer.
Thank you so much, Ruth, and it's such an honor to be here with everyone this evening. And thank you, Nasrullah, for being such a good friend as well. Wow, I cannot believe it's been 2 years. It's just, you know, when I got elected, COVID happened about 6 or 7 months right afterwards. And so the whole beginning portion of my term, we saw something that we never thought, or I never thought I'd ever see happen in my lifetime. And I just want to acknowledge all of the people that we've lost, people that have survived it, families and friends. And I'm so grateful that you all were genius enough to create a platform to where you have, you know, maintained the lives of these people, and you put a face to who they are and a bio and understanding how important they are and sharing that with the world. So thank you so much. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of this process. I am bringing greetings from the mayor of the city of Houston. And so I would like to read the proclamation that was given by Mayor Sylvester Turner. Whereas COVID-19 Wall of Memories, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, was formed by Houston residents Ruth and Mohammed Nasrullah in 2020, with the mission of memorializing those we've lost to COVID-19 and providing education and information about the disease and the pandemic. And whereas on January the 4th, 2021, COVID-19 Wall of Memories launched a virtual memorial at covid19wallofmemories.org, featuring the faces, names, and stories of US residents who have passed away from COVID-19, and thereby offered an opportunity to surviving friends and families to uplift their lives of those they lost in COVID-19. And whereas through the diligent efforts of its board and volunteers, COVID-19 Wall of Memories has honored over 15,000 US residents from every state, territory, including 1,000 from the greater Houston and across Texas. And whereas COVID-19 Wall of Memories has participated in efforts to raise awareness about the disease, such as hosting online and in-person vaccination drives, holding memorial programs, providing news and information about the disease and its impact on individuals and communities. And whereas the COVID-19 Wall of Memories has honored more than COVID-19 victims than any other online memorial, and has done so with respect and dignity and sensitivity for the surviving friends and family. And whereas on January the 4th, 2023, COVID-19 Wall of Memories will observe its second anniversary of its website's launch as an online gathering with family, friends, members of our community, leaders, volunteers, supporters. And whereas the City of Houston commends COVID-19 Wall of Memories for its commitment to remembering and honoring the lives of those we lost to COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, I, Mayor Sylvester Turner, City of Houston, hereby proclaim January 4th, 2023 as COVID-19 Wall of Memories Day. Congratulations to the community, to the families and friends who have lost someone special to them. But thank you so much, Mohammed and Ruth, for making sure that those neighbors, friends, families of ours that are lost have been able to be remembered in such a dignified and respectful way.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Plummer. That's really, we're really honored. So, and please convey our thanks to Mayor Turner as well. So speaking of those family members that we were discussing, we have one here this evening, one of our special speakers, and I'm looking across the Zoom landscape for her. Hannah, there you are. I was going to say giggle or something. So I'd like to introduce to you Hannah Jane Russell, a newly minted star of TV. And no, I'm kidding. She was on the news this evening talking about her beloved mom and uncle, who are both honored on the Wall of Memories. We're very sorry for your loss, Hannah. We're really happy to have you here this evening, and please share with us your thoughts.
Well, first I want to say good evening, everyone. My name is Hannah. I was asked to speak here because of how COVID affected not only my life, but my family's as well. It took so much from us in the long and short run. I lost not only my uncle, but also my mother as well. Now, starting with my uncle, when I was a little girl growing up, there was nothing that my Uncle Jay wouldn't do for me. He was a literal angel in every sense of the word. He used to tie my shoes, make me anything he thought I'd like, and go out of his way to make me happy. Even though I was the youngest, he tried his best to do things for my sister and I, both. Even after she got older and discovered boys and wasn't around as much as I saw, at least. My uncle was the first to fall sick to this devilish disease. He'd call and tell us how scared he was, and even though he was the one sick, he'd constantly check up on my sister and I, hoping and praying that we never fall victim to the killer that is COVID-19. He later passed away on a ventilator alone in the hospital before any visitors could come due to the high volume of the pandemic. Now, to my mother, she was my best friend, the woman who helped create me, the one who birthed me, my bodyguard, pillow to cry on, the one who basically gave me any and everything. She was that type of mom who took in my friends and boyfriend as her own, as her bonus kids, she would say. All she wanted from me was to be happy and successful. My mom made sure I knew how much she cared, how proud of me she was, and she reminded me just about every day how important I was to her. She always took the time to look me in the eyes and tell me how much she loved me. She was the strongest, bravest, and wanted nothing but love and success for her girls. She never called me and my sister kids. Funny enough, always girls. The girls, our girls, her girls. Without her, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be the person I am today or have the life that I have. She was quite literally everything to me. I am only 25 and experienced so much heartbreak before my eyes that I don't wish upon anyone. I'll always remember that day I found out. I sat in my bedroom as she stood in the door of my room, tears in her eyes as her voice cracked, telling me she would get tested positive for COVID. The heartbreak in her eyes as I promised her it would be okay, if only that was the case. We had our last Thanksgiving together before we went to the hospital because I had the sickness as well, but I got better. She was a different story. She was deemed too sick for our home hospital and was transferred to a bigger one. My father and I, with my sister on video chat, stood outside the hospital waving and yelling as they escorted her to the ambulance. I screamed that I loved her and I watched as she cried and waved, unable to yell since she was still sick. I wish I knew that was the last time I'd see her smiling at me like that. I'd never forget how mad she was when they woke her up at 1 a.m., wiping her down with a cold baby wipe. She gave that nurse a stern talking to. There was also the time that my sister and I threatened to break her out of the hospital, all because she wanted to see her family, her cats, and eat a sausage McMuffin from McDonald's. Before my mother was put on the ventilator, I took her pictures of those who meant the world to her, so she was never really alone. She could look at those pictures and know who was cheering her on from back home. When visitors were finally granted to walk the deadly halls of the hospital, my father, who has become one of the most heroic people in my eyes, from not only how he dealt with everything, but for who he became after all. A literal superhero. No bright red capes, but he never withheld anything from us because he wanted us to be prepared. I never saw anything break my father more than losing the life he had with the love of his life, his soulmate of many, many years. He made sure we knew everything down to even if he got the chance to see her smile that day or not. Constant video calls, messages, anything you could think of. It took 72 hours. 72 hours where everything was good. We went from picking out rehabilitation centers to the doctor telling us there was nothing more that they can do for her, and it was the end of the line of her life and our family dynamics forever. My sister and I got to visit her on the last day of her life, and trust me when I say no one should ever see their parent in that state. But it was vital. She was swollen from an allergic reaction to the tubes and water tension. She had tubes coming out of her lungs and throat as she slept peacefully from the sedative they gave her so she'd stay on the ventilator. I don't think to this day I'd ever get that picture out of my mind. It's still plagued from watching her struggle so much. And to the creators of the Wall of Memories, I'd like to thank you. Memorializing something as simple as a person's death is very important to me, and I think anyone else can agree. Memorials can reflect not only personal stories, but the values and power it has, where everyone around the world can see the impact on society and share our griefs. It reminds us that history and tragedy aren't just in books or something you learn about in history class, but all around us. And one day when everything goes down in history books, we can actually look at the future generations and say your grandmother, great aunt, uncle, grandfather, etc. survived this, but many did not. Then when they teach it in schools, they can pull up this website for memorials and even maybe history projects. Because in the end, our memories of you will linger on long after the footprints in the sand are gone.
Thank you so much, Hannah. That was really beautiful. And again, please accept our condolences. That was really touching. Thank you for being here. Okay, I'd like now to introduce Sam Merchant, who is the outreach liaison for Congressman Al Green, who hopefully right now is in the process of electing a new Speaker of the House, but we'll find out when we watch the news after this. Sam, please.
I'm doing. How are you doing? Right, I'm doing. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Mama Nasrullah. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Council Member Hannah. You brought tears to my eyes, and it's making it difficult for me to really speak out to you because I went through my own challenges. I'm a first-generation immigrant, and I still have a lot of family outside the US, in different countries, and ended up losing a couple of close members. My own friend, older brother, and my wife's mother-in-law, grandma. Somebody who we had a chance to see just a year or so before loss became a reality. Let's just put it this way, for lack of better words. But nevertheless, my congressman sends his apologies, as Ruth rightfully mentioned. There's a lot going on, and he couldn't be here with us in person, but he has sent with me a message to be shared with you all and to be read out. And I will take the liberty of reading it out. It's a quick message. It's dated January 4th, 2023. Dear friends, it is with great pleasure that I take the opportunity to greet the attendees of the second anniversary COVID-19 Wall of Memories virtual event. On behalf of the constituents of the 9th Congressional District of Texas, I, and that's Congressman Al Green, applaud all organizers and participants for their commitment to making this a memorable event. When you talk about District 9, you have to understand that the medical center, the world's most famous medical center, is in our district. Having said that, I think one of the biggest shout out we all need to do and recognize that despite what went on, despite all the restrictions, members of the medical community, be it doctors, nurses, and everyone else, did not care about the risks, did not care about anything, and gave everything that they had and some to save or to keep the numbers down to what we say today, 1 million. But that could have been 10 million. It could have been a lot more had it not been for the sacrifices made by the medical community. So I just feel that we should be grateful for all of these people who did not think about themselves or their own families, but did everything in this situation to save lives. To continue with the message, I and this Congressman Al Green acknowledge the COVID-19 Wall of Memories for their commitment to memorizing the lives of COVID-19 victims in America by having a scrolling virtual memorial that holds the faces, names, and stories of people whose lives were taken by COVID-19. I also salute the dedication to serving as a source of information about the disease, the epidemic, and the impact to the United States. I, Congressman Al Green, again, look forward to continuing to work with the COVID-19 Wall of Memories on future endeavors and to continue to serve you well as a member of Congress. Best wishes to all for an exciting and enjoyable event. We all know what enjoyable means, is celebrating the lives of the people we lost. So sincerely, Al Green, Member of Congress. Thank you again for giving me this chance to read this message and for sharing my experience in this journey with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. And I'm so sorry to hear how it impacted you as well. I mean, really, very few of us have come through this unscathed, but thank you. And now I'd like to call upon my better half. There he is. I couldn't wait to spotlight you.
Oh,
To recognize some of our volunteers, and I am going to share my screen while you do that. So please do go ahead and start.
so before we start with what you plan to share, I just want to emphasize the role of our volunteers. They do tremendous work in helping us, honoring as many people as we can on our virtual memorial. I mean, they without our volunteers, and some of them are here, that we would not keep this project, this critical project going. As we are in our second anniversary, we have 15,000 Americans honored on this virtual memorial, and our intention is to just keep at it and never always remember and never forget. So some of the volunteers that have helped us, and just to let you know, our volunteers come across from all over the U.S. In fact, we even have a volunteer in Hawaii. And we got volunteers in Ohio and Pennsylvania and Louisiana and right here in Houston. So I'm just gonna read the names while Ruth can show what she has planned to share. Uh, as far as volunteers go, uh, Rosie is like our gold standard. I mean, she does so much work to maintain and keep our project going. And I know Rosie in other areas also, and she does the same thing in other areas. She is such a hard worker. So Rosie, I'm so thankful for you to be a part of our team. The next one is Mary Allen, who just lives north of here in Crosby. She has been with the with our project from even before we launched. So Mary, thank you so much for being there and helping us. Uh, Next is Purnima Vera. She could not make it. She lives in Chicago and has been helping us for more than a year now. Um, Thank you, Purnima. And then Victoria Panel. She's here, and she is like we talked about. She just been accepted in a medical school in North Carolina. So thank you, Victoria, for your help. Ethiopia Grant. Ethiopia is from Pennsylvania, and I don't think she could make it. She has been with us almost a year now. Andrea Matthew, she is originally from India, but she lives and goes to school at U of H. So she has been a hard worker helping us. Christine Taylor is from New Orleans. She has been with us for a year and a half now and helped us a lot. Kilonia goes to LSU in Louisiana. She has helped us when she can because she's a full-time student. Carissa Grant, she's also from New Orleans, helped us when she can. Cindy Kane, who is here, who lives right here, I think in either Baytown or Deer Park. She's been a big help, and she supported this program. Kevin Mai, I think he's right here in Houston. He's helped us a lot. Ellis Went is actually lives right here in Seabrook. He's just graduated, and I think he's finally got a job. James Marioma is this is the one that's in Hawaii. He has, he's working in a hospital, so whenever he time allows, he helps us. And Carly Lawrence helped us with a special project on the website that we needed some work done. So Carly was a big help in that area. So I want to thank all volunteers for helping and keeping this project going. Thank you.
And I'm gonna call on our hardest working volunteer, Rosie Flanagan, who's gonna give us her reflections on working with us. And I'm sure she's gonna say wonderful things about me and Muhammad, but
Yes,
take it away. No guarantee.
absolutely. First of all, I want to say I was asked by Ruth and Mohammed, who are friends of mine from multiple other areas of our lives. They asked me, I think it was in December of 2020, if I was willing to help with this. And I said, sure. They're friends. They asked me for the help. Didn't know how long this was going to go on because none of us knew what was facing us. I'm one of the data entry volunteers. The wall honors people in two different ways. One is that family members can go to the wall, submit the information to honor the family members themselves. And I believe, Hannah, that's what you did. We also go, we have research volunteers who look for information from obituaries that people who have died from COVID, and their obituary says that. And we honor them as well using the information publicly available in the obituary. It has been a roller coaster in a lot of ways. We started out with the elderly, the elderly, the nursing homes that were so dramatically hit. Then you had the medical personnel, the first responders, the number. I think that from a New York Times article, there's like over 3,000. It's just a huge number of medical personnel and first responders who have been lost to COVID. Then it starts shifting. People start understanding. We start masking. We start staying home. We start doing things a little bit better. And then the vaccines come out. Thankfully, the vaccines come out. And we see things starting to get better. But one of the things that's happened now as we're entering and looking at the later deaths, we see younger people who don't, not that there haven't been young all along, but there have been particularly more people. It's like, I'm 71, and now when I'm doing data entry, almost everyone is younger than me. It's not people in their 80s and 90s. It's people in their 60s, people in their 50s or 30s. And for these families, I think of what they're going through as a double grief. They have the grief that their loved one died, but in the recent deaths, they have the additional grief that maybe their family member chose not to get vaccinated and were lost because of that. And you just think of what these families are going through. Or like Hannah's family, where you've lost multiple members. I've done data entry for honoring people where both the mother and the father died, leaving minor children. Or a single mother dies, leaving, there was one not too long ago, a single mother in Florida died, leaving a newborn that was born while she had COVID and 2 other minor children. And you look at this and you just go, I don't know how these families go on. So as a volunteer, what I am doing and what I feel is so important is putting these stories and these faces out there. So we're not just talking about numbers. This many people died, this many of this age. We're seeing these people, whatever their circumstances, whatever their education, whatever their way of life, we want to honor them. And that's why I continue volunteering 2+ years later. So, and thank you, Ruth and Mohammed, for being the people who have made this happen.
Thank you so much, Rosie. And thank you for all the work you do. And thank you for your eloquent words. I really appreciate it. I'd like to now invite also a longtime friend and supporter of ours and of COVID-19 Wall of Memories, Don Desfor, if you could please step to the virtual podium.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, let me know if you can't hear me.
No, I can hear you.
I just want to, of course, along with everyone else, and even though this is not, as Ruth said early on, not a celebration of the wall, it's a memorial to those that are honored on the wall. But still, it's very important to understand the kind of effort that it took for you and the whole team, especially all of the volunteers. And I have the easiest part. I'm just a supporter. And so there's not a lot for me to say other than my impression. And if I've said this several times, if somebody had made a movie of what's gone on the last 3 years and showed it to me in 2019, I would have said that's the most ridiculous, absurd situation that couldn't possibly happen. And it did happen. And so this has transcended all forms of nationality, politics, and that's what's so wonderful about the wall. You've taken that, and it's not been politicized. It's not been taken for any other reason than to honor those that have passed and to help the families who are struggling with the grief that goes along with that. And there are common feelings, and hopefully, you know, Hannah spoke to it so well that hopefully she and her family and all the other families can take some solace in understanding that they're not the only ones in this situation, but without losing the fact that every single person on the wall is an individual, had an individual personality, and had a very special meaning to somebody. And that is something that your wall, rather than just a name, that individual's personality. And it's interesting how many wanted their life celebrated, or the relatives want their life celebrated. So again, to be able to bring both the common feelings of loss, but also the individualization of each individual is just a remarkable accomplishment. And that's why I continue to support your efforts and your wall.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Don.
you.
We really appreciate your comments, your support, your friendship, everything. Thank you very much. Is Commissioner Garcia here or not yet? Okay, let's then, hopefully he'll be able to join us. I do know that Sam just got here. He is one of our board members and a community leader extraordinaire. Sam Alex, please share with us your thoughts about whatever you want to talk about. Sam?
Thank you, Ruth. And thank you, everyone, for this opportunity to come on tonight. Ruth and Mohammed, I salute you for the outstanding work, your leadership, vision, and like Don said a moment ago, honor for those in our community that we've lost, deserves support, acknowledgement, as well as continued financial support so you can continue the mission, we can continue to honor our fellow Americans, and because the work is so valuable. As a not only board member, but a family member of someone who passed away, it's so important that if we need to go in those moments when my wife's auntie's birthday comes every year, we can go to the wall and honor her memory, things like that. So it's so important personally, as well as my mission to be a community servant and continue to support COVID-19 Wall of Memory. So again, it's just been a honor to be part of your vision. And I want to do more. My commitment for 2023 is to share more, give more, impact more, encourage more, inspire more. So those that we've lost to COVID-19 won't be forgotten. And they will always have a place. As a veteran, and when visiting Washington, D.C., to be able to go and visit the Vietnam Wall and see how effective and meaningful that is for families and for others that have lost soldiers in that conflict. Memorializing is very important. It's not only to honor those that we've lost, but it's also an opportunity to honor those that are still here and let them know that we stand with you. We honor your loved one that has gone on. And so they will never be forgotten. And so it's just so meaningful what you've done and what you're continuing to do. And it's an honor for myself and my wife to be part of it. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam, for your support, your friendship, and I love to hear board members say, I want to do more. So we appreciate everything you do. And I'd like to now invite Houston City Council member Sally Alcorn to say a few words. Thank you so much for being here.
Sure, I was really honored to be invited and really wanted to come to this because, now that it seems like we're kind of moving away from the worst of the pandemic, thank goodness, we tend to think about it less and think about the people that were so affected a little bit less. So this was just a beautiful way to kind of bring us back to really think about, all the lives that were changed, all the lives that were lost. Just while we've been talking, I've kind of been scrolling through the website on my phone, just looking at some of I haven't done it in a while. And, there's a meat cutter and there's a teacher. And I mean, these were people with families and jobs and friends, and just to see their faces really, really brings home just how meaningful what you've done here. So thank you, Ruth and Mohammed, for thinking of this. I mean, I know, had I lost somebody, I would be so thrilled that there was a place like this to go for my loved ones. Hannah, I mean, like Sam said, I was in tears too. I mean, that was just such a beautiful tribute. And I am so sorry for your loss. And thank you for honoring your uncle and your mother with your words tonight. I'm quite sure they heard you and are so proud of you. My colleague, Letitia Plummer, you've really been a leader on this. And I remember her bringing Ruth and Mohammed down to City Hall to honor you in person with the mayoral proclamation. So that was great. And all of the volunteers, Rosie, I really appreciated your kind of statement about what the volunteers have done and how this all came about and your involvement in it. Was so thank you to you and all the volunteers. Like I said, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me, and congratulations on a really successful project.
Thank you so much, Council Member. We really appreciate it. And I'd like to go now to a colleague and a friend who is a great artist, and he's also very involved in a memorialization project. He's going to tell us all about that. So Marcos Lutchins, please step to the virtual podium. Welcome.
I'm very honored to be here, and it's been very moving listening to all the speakers. And I'm honored to say that we're going to collaborate on a memorial project, which I've been working on, called the Rose River Memorial. And we're going to be launching it. Well, basically, we're going to show it in Tranquility Park towards the end of February. And the project, the Rose River Memorial, was started in 2020. And in August, and the idea was to help memorialize and make note of all the people that have passed away from COVID. And the project involves making a felt rose for each person that's passed away from COVID. And so, sometimes, adding names whenever possible to the roses. And so we're teaming up together in Houston to make more roses, and to also bring together roses that we've already created. We've already created in the Rose River Memorial about 90,000 roses. We're not going to show all 90,000 roses because they're being shown in different parts of the country. But the roses we're showing were created originally in Kansas, or most of the roses in Kansas City, and they were shown in Topeka at the Capitol building, and then they moved through Missouri and shown in different places, including the Laumeier Sculpture Park. And we would really appreciate and love to have the community help make more roses to help honor those lost in the Houston area, and also the counties kind of beyond Houston into Texas. So we'll be, I guess, sharing some information soon about how to help make roses, and I hope that you may be able to come to Tranquility Park, which is just by City Hall, and honor all the people that have been lost to COVID in Houston. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ruth and Mohammed, especially.
Thank you, Marco, so much. Can you describe just very briefly some of the ways that in different cities the roses have been displayed, just so people have an idea of what it kind of looks like?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I just
There you
realized
go.
that I could share my screen.
Oh, there we go.
So there is there is what we're looking at Tranquility Park, and I don't want to take up too much time, but yeah, that's more or less an impression of how the roses would look. We're going to have 10 or 11, maybe more roses at Tranquility Park. The project is, I've been working with communities all across the States, in all different parts, different communities, schools, and all, hospitals, and all sorts of different organizations. This was the first memorial that I started in East LA, and that was back in 2020, and it was just mind-numbing how, you know, I went back every week and had to add roses because so many people were passing away. And then this was on the west side of LA too.
My
Yeah.
screen just shows it loading it. I'm not.
Yeah, we can't see it. When you went to slideshow,
Oh, okay, gosh, I'm
we
sorry
lost
about
the
that.
visuals. Yeah, so
How about now? Can you
yeah,
see that
there you
at
go.
all?
Yeah,
Okay.
just
Okay, sorry. Anyway, I'm going to run through it very quickly because I'm only have 4 minutes and I probably used
That's
3
okay.
or 4 already. Anyway, this is in East LA, and you can see me putting roses on there. And on the right, you can see how I was trying to keep up with the number of people that had passed away from COVID. This was in West LA. And then this was on the beach at the end of December 2020, Santa Monica Beach, which is, you know, in Los Angeles. And we teamed up with the Tongva elder, the local Native American tribe representative, because in their cosmology, the souls migrate across the ocean towards the setting sun. And that was actually the highest death rate of the whole COVID time. So it seemed like a very fitting and moving ceremony. And then this was at the Orange County Museum in Orange County. There was 4,000 roses were made. This was in Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley. We actually had difficulty trying to show the roses anywhere, so we rented a refrigeration truck and showed them in there and went around different parts of the county. This was the day before Biden's inauguration, where we showed roses in Los Angeles. This was at Christ Cathedral in Orange County. We made 6,000 roses there, and the bishop inaugurated the project, and we had it there for about 4 months. This was in Ojai, also in California, and it was memorializing also to do with Earth Day, because COVID is kind of linked in a way to environmental degradation. This is the roses that I was talking about that will be shown in Houston, that originated, some of them originated in Topeka, and then we showed them. Sorry, this is in Hawaii. I don't really have too much time here, but we teamed up with Story Wagon to gather the stories, because it's not just a question of numbers, it's also just like how we've been saying in this today, you know, how it's so important that the personalization of the loss too. This was in Bakersfield. We attached the roses to a sailing boat that belonged to somebody who died from COVID. This was Mayor Bob Frutos in Burbank in California, who lost his mum to COVID. And then this was the mayor of LA, who was inaugurating 24,000 roses that were displayed in what had actually been a field hospital in LA, the convention center. So, we've shown the roses in lots of different places, yeah, and lots of different venues and schools and universities, and sculpture parks. And sorry, were you going to say something?
In Houston, it'll be on February 24th in Tranquility Park. So, and you showed us the mock-up of that. So Thank you so much, Marcos. Your work is really amazing. So yeah, you made the front page of the New York Times as well. So we're really honored to be collaborating with you. Thank you for all the work you do. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I'm so honored, and also to meet the community here is incredible. And hopefully I'll meet some of you in person.
For sure. Everybody's going to come to the memorial. Thank you, Marcos. And I believe Commissioner Garcia is here now. So,
Yeah.
right, I have to
Hey
find.
there, Ruth.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Yes.
It's hard to see me because I'm in my car.
Okay. Well, let me just
Let me see
put
if I
you
can.
in. We can
See,
kind of
there's
see
a little bit of
now.
light there.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Harris County Precinct 2 Commissioner Adrian Garcia, thank you so much for being with us, another longtime friend and supporter. We're
Thank
happy
you
to-
very much. And I just wanted to step into the virtual room briefly just to say thank you. Thank you. I was watching the presentation, and you know, you and Mohammed should be so proud of what you've done for so many families. And I know that many are individuals and families you've never met. And you know, the pandemic was such a terrible point of our history that, number one, we cannot lose sight of those that we lost. And we should always find the most honorable, respectful, and dignified ways to remember them and honor them. But we also need to take this opportunity to continue to challenge government to not give up on doing all that we can to ensure that if another pandemic were to hit our world, that at least our community would be much more resilient than we were during COVID-19. And I think that the Wall of Memories tends to do that because it keeps alive the loved ones so vividly that it allows us to remember them, that if not for the pandemic, many of them would still be with us. And so, but by the same token, it gives families an opportunity to be able to look at the Wall of Memories, no matter where in the world they may be, and be able to share their lives of their loved one with others virtually, and to continue to keep them alive and their memories alive because of the Wall of Memories. And so I am only disappointed that Precinct 2 was not able to participate much more directly with the project at Tranquility Park. But I'm just happy that you looked to us and that we were ready to do all that we could to ensure that it would be a successful recognition and memorial for our respective loved ones. So again, Ruth and Mohammed, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, and we're grateful for your leadership.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I want to just, I'm going to take you off spotlight. So hopefully, oh, you probably won't be able to see it because of my virtual background, but Commissioner Garcia did honor us with a proclamation as well. And we're going to actually, I'm going to share this on our social media and by our newsletter so that everyone can see the proclamation. We thank you so much. You are a great colleague and you've helped us tremendously with the Rose Memorial. So thank you very much for all you've done. Really appreciate it.
Well, try to keep Mohammed under control if you can.
I do. I always try. Always try. That's all I can do though is try.
Right. We love you. Y'all take care.
You too. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia.
Is
Thank you.
Ebony here? I didn't see her come in. Okay, we're going to go straight then, and we have 4 minutes left, and we're going to go straight to our wonderful writer. If any of you follow the Pandemic Motherhood Diary, this young woman is a Pandemic mother, I assume she's going to tell us a little bit more about what that means, and I'd like her to take the virtual podium and tell us a little bit about her experience.
I'm still here.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to. Oh, I think I can't spotlight you unless you turn your. Are you going to be able to turn your video on or no?
Oh,
You
no.
don't have to. I know
I
you
turned it
don't.
off just in case a little person runs in the room.
Okay. Well, take it away then, Melissa, please. Melissa Many.
So hopefully you don't hear any fireworks, but apparently someone's still celebrating. So hopefully not. I've been contributing to the site for almost 2 years, specifically writing the pandemic motherhood column for a little over a year now. It's important for people to share their COVID stories because it invites and creates community. One of the significant pluses that has come with writing about my COVID parenting journey or being a new parent during the pandemic, when it first started, I had a 3-month-old and now I have 2 little toddlers now. So I consider myself starting the pandemic as a new mother. So one of the pluses since writing this column and having others who relate to my journey and being able to create some type of community and conversation, and we've been bonding over our commonalities, and it's been therapeutic and comforting while raising these little boys during this unpredictable time. Not to mention my husband and myself and our babies all had COVID last year, which, as you can imagine, was horrible. So this unexpected twist in life has also changed many of us, whether it's been because of grief from losing someone or losing pieces of our pre-COVID lives. The stories have altered our perspective, including mine. The COVID stories have further revealed just how unjust our world is by shedding light on those most vulnerable, including those incarcerated. It's encouraged me to pay more attention to those incarcerated and the incarceration crisis in America in general, and it's made me question what I can contribute to the conversation, to the solution, if any. So with all of that, I have been grateful for the opportunity and this platform that has allowed me to share and, more importantly, learn. So thank you. Hopefully I wasn't talking too fast.
Not at all. Thank you so much, Melissa. And if you want to read the ups and downs of being a pandemic mother, you can read the series on our website. There are also links posted on our social media and on our Medium page. So of course it's COVID-19wallofmemories.org. And with that, I really want to thank all of you so much for joining us this evening, and thank you all for your friendship and support, your prayers, your good thoughts. It was great to see all of you here this evening. And again, thank you all so much. Mohammed, do you have any closing words to share, please?
The only thing that I have is we have that Rose Memorial kickoff coming up on Friday, February 24th at Tranquility Park, which is right next to City Hall. And for that, we already have 10,000 roses. So like Marcos mentioned, we need to make another 1,000. And we have scheduled a time, January 21st at 10 a.m. At the Multicultural Center. We are gathering volunteers to watch a demonstration by Zoom that Marcos is going to show us how to build these roses. And then we will have all the materials that we need and a pool of volunteers to make those roses. So that's January 21st, 10 a.m. at the Multicultural Center. And the inauguration is we don't have a time yet, but it's on the 24th
February
of February.
24th, yeah, at Tranquility
Friday.
Park, of course. So follow us on social media to keep up with news about that and everything else that we're doing. Thank you again, all of you. Be safe, be healthy, be happy. It was great to see you all here. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.